Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is the midpoint formula, and this one is pretty straightforward. So when you think midpoint, I want you to think middle, okay? And when we think middle, sometimes what we would think is average, okay? And that is the correct intuition here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the average of the x values, and then we're going to do the average of the y values, okay? So just to remind you, the average formula is just sum over number. Okay, so in this case, all we have to do is add two coordinates and then divide by 2. So this gets us our x coordinate, and then for the y coordinate, we take 4, we combine that with -1, and divide by 2. Now you might be wondering, this looks like a subtraction right here, 4 minus 1. But technically no, it's not. It's an addition. It's 4 plus -1. But when you have two signs that are mixed, the -1 will take precedence here. Okay, mixed signs equals a minus sign. So that's why it looks like a subtraction even though it's addition. And the way I call it is I call it combining numbers. So we're taking a +4 and combining with a -1. Okay, so that's an important concept that might be overlooked. Okay, so anyway, then we just need to simplify it from there. So 7 and 9 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 divided by 2. You can leave it like that, or you could say 1.5, either way. So that's your midpoint. Okay. So let's try another one. So this time we have 8 and 0. So we add those, divide by 2. And then we have -9 combining with 5, divide by 2. So 8 and 0 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. -9 combined with +5. Notice the signs are different, so they're on different teams. So when we combine those numbers, we end up with a value that is 4 and it's negative. And then we of course have to divide that by 2. So we end up with 4 comma -2. And how about one more example? So here we're going from 0 to 4, so we have to add these numbers. 0 plus -4, and then divide that by 2. And then for the y values, I do 4 combined with -12, divide that by 2. So here I get -4 over 2, which is -2. Here I get -8, right, divided by 2. And that's just going to equal -4. Right? So that's my midpoint. It's the middle of these 2 points. Now, you might ask, where would this come up in a SAT question? So basically, there's one place where it's quite common that it comes up, and that's with circles, right? So, for example, if they give you 2 endpoints of a circle, they might ask you for the middle, right? And it doesn't have to be a circle, but it could be anything where you know sort of the endpoints and you want to find the middle. So it could also be having to do with lines, for example, or line segments or something. So anyway, they'll give you the 2 endpoints and ask for the middle. Now the other possibility is that they might give you the left endpoint in the middle and ask for the right endpoint, or vice versa. So we have to explore that option as well. So let's take a look at that on the next page. So in this case, we're looking for the right endpoint. So what we do here is a little different. Okay. So what we do is we want to see what change is happening going from 8 to 0. And this, by the way, if you watched the previous videos, this is going to be basically delta x. Okay. So in this case, we're going from 8 to 0. So we're going down by 8. Okay. And we want to apply that same change again. So from 0, we want to also go down 8. So we get to -8, right? And then from this number -9, well, what would be the change in the y coordinate? Well, we remember from our other videos that if the sign changes, we have to add the number parts. So we're going to add 9 with 5, and that gives 14. And then we apply this one more time. So from 5, we have to apply another change in y of 14. So we add 14 again from 5 to get 19. Okay, so that's the procedure here. Notice we're not using the average formula or anything like that. And also notice that the average formula involves addition of the coordinates, all right? Whereas here, since we're doing the delta, that's a subtraction. So that's another fine detail there. Let's try one more example. So here, going from 0 to minus 4, we're going down 4. So we have to go down by another 4, and that gives us to minus 8. So from 4 to minus 12, this time we're going down 4 and then another 12. So we're going down a total of 16. So we have to go down another 16 from 12. So that gets us to negative 28. And that would be our right endpoint. So the typical situation where you'll see this question is if you have a circle, and if they're giving you the left endpoint of the circle along with the midpoint, and they're asking you to find the right endpoint, right? So to do that, you would, use this sort of analysis.